And prompt can be like any simple thing also. You can simply say that, okay, write a post, write a LinkedIn post, or let me write also like what can be prompt. So if I say here, one prompt is simply saying that write a LinkedIn post. This is just an instruction. I'm saying that, okay, you do, but I'm not adding any context or whatever, correct? So mostly when we say, I think to make a better prompt, first thing we need to give the instruction. So I can say that, okay, this is the instruction. And here the instruction is write a LinkedIn post. But if I'll simply give an instruction that, okay, what you have to do, we will not get the result which we wanted. So then what we add as a context also that, okay, write a LinkedIn post about the tech geek session which we are having it here, correct? So based on that, it will try to see that, okay, now if I know that, okay, what is this, it will try to write a LinkedIn post. Okay, so like here, okay, sorry. Okay, so here like you add now some context, and then after adding the context, you also need to provide some input data. When I say like input data means now you are saying write a LinkedIn post about the tech geek session where we are discussing about GenAI, LLM, etc. So now then you'll get a more better result. But in this also you won't be able to control the output, correct? Let's say whether it will write 100 words or 500 words, that you cannot control. So then you also provide the output indicator that, okay, in which format you need the output to be or the response to be driven. So you add some indicator for output. So you say that, okay, write a LinkedIn post about this in 8 lines or 5 lines. Like that, you add that, okay. So then you know that, okay, whatever the things you wanted, you get. So you provide the instruction, what you need to do. You add some context, you add the input data, and then you tell that, okay, in which format I want. So using all, if you take this combination of all these four things, that will be considered as a prompt engineering. That means now you are good on writing the prompt. So if any instruction, whether you're using Chat GPT or Gemini, if you give your prompt which contains all these four inputs, you will get a better result. So instruction is like if we go for each thing, like what to put on the instruction, what to put on context, what to put on input data and output indicator. So instruction can be a simple specific task or role which you want to assign to the model. Context will be your external information, which are any additional context that will help model to provide a better result. And input data is that all other extra information which is interested are based on whatever the context you have provided. Its input data will be related to your context only, and your output indicator will be the response format which you want, whether you want in a JSON format or you want in a list format or you want in a post format or the image, all those things you add it. Any doubt till here? Okay. So now let's go to the, again in the prompt also there are multiple things. How you can, in this also we are not able to control what should be the quality and other things. So to, when we say prompt engineering, there are two things. One is the prompt. Second thing is some configuration. So the configuration is like that, okay, what should be the output length? Here I just mentioned 8 lines, but it can be the bigger lines also, it can be smaller line also. And whether it should be more generative or it should be more you can say like a strict or sorry means you have like whether you want to make it a more creative answer or you want that, okay, more deterministic answer. So there are multiple configurations, so depends on which library we use. we control it. So mostly whatever the library I use is that I use the OpenAI, and in that I have seen 2 or 3 parameters mainly. One is the temperature. So whenever we provide any things, we can also control that. Okay, what should be the temperature? And in the temperature, generally value will range between 0 to 1, and 0 will be like low, and 1 is high. And what does this low or high means? Low will be like more deterministic, where it will not try to be your much generative kind of things, where you give some input, almost every time you might get the similar result. But if you are providing the temperature value as high, like near to 1, then for the same input, you might get different results. And mostly we use higher value when we are like brainstorming on any session, or we are creating any story. But when we are working on any like our in any coding applications, or we are building any agents, that time we try to make it as low as 0, so that we get more the way we want. We can control it. It will be like creativity will be more here. And the same goes, but there are some other property, like one thing called as a top K. I have not tested this. Whatever the default value we get, I always use that. But maybe if we'll read the documentation, we'll get some better result. And the second one is the top P. So what does the top K means? So whenever, see, in the LLM, if you know, everything is mostly the tokens, correct? What should be the next word, or what should be the next token which I need to use? So when we say, I think in this also there are some value. We have a K is equal to 1, and I don't know what is the max value, because I always use K is equal to 1 only. So it will always choose the most probable token. But if I think there will be, if you are trying to put a higher K, it will have a more variation similar to the temperature. So sometimes people try to combine between.
What is top K and top P? I didn't understand this part.
Okay, so top K is like when it's a LLM model is choosing the next token for generating a response, which token I should pick. There it helps LLM model to decide whether it should be the next, like for let's say if I'm typing anything and I'm saying that, okay, write a LinkedIn, what could be the next port? It's next word, the next token can be a post, or it can be write a LinkedIn blog or anything. So which one to pick as the next, that we control from the top K.
Matlab, which one means what? So this
Means
means next token or
yeah, token only, but I don't know internally how it deals. But people say that, okay, you can control in which sense, whether it should be like more the way we have this temperature part, whether it should be more creativity token it should pick, or it should pick the more deterministic token. And internal, I also don't know. So that's why I don't, I never use these two parameters. Whatever the default comes, I always use that
So
only.
Varun, these are the part of basically prompt जो तुम दे रहे हो, ये उसकी guiding है, ये guidance है उसके लिए कि
नहीं नहीं,
high.
prompt के नहीं है. It's like when you use any LLM, that time you generate some request. There you control that, okay, what should be the temperature, what should be the top K, what should be the top P, so that based on your prompt, it will decide that, okay, how generative
ये हम
my
कहाँ specify करते हैं temperature? Prompt में ही specify. For example, you have written temperature.
prompt में नहीं specify
Date 0 to 1. Okay.
No, this we don't specify in the prompt. So whatever the tool you are using, let's say you are using the chat GPT also. So in there, there will be a setting option. There you define that, okay, what should be the my answer configuration. Similar way, if you are building your own chatbot, in that also you will define these as a configuration.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, sure.
Maybe
I think this let me just make it more concrete. So last time Varun presented some examples, right? Jisme he was connecting to Chat GPT and all, right? OpenAI,
Correct,
which API
correct.
there was a parameter called temperature, right? So
Acha, हाँ.
so that parameter, when you pass, let's say you say that okay, ये मेरा question है, right? So there is another parameter in that which is temperature. So temperature will decide if it's more closer to 0, that means you will get very deterministic answer, and if it's closer to 1 will give a creative answer. I think that only I also understood.
Correct.
Okay, ठीक है, good.
Yeah, so all these things like when we build,
ये नई
that time we can.
इसको मेरे लिए learning है, but thanks for this.
Okay.
Sure, let's move on.
Sure. Yeah, because I have not used this much in practical, so that's why I'm not able to explain it properly. So it's like people use it. So I thought to just mention it here, but mostly we play around with this value only, the temperature part. So if you want that, okay, if you are building on, let's say you are building any agent for coding review or for writing code, you can add a temperature as a very low value. And if you are building for creating some, you are trying to brainstorm something on a new idea, that time you can have a temperature as a higher value.
Okay, I think this is important. So you're saying, okay, when I'm asking for some facts or something, then I can pass a lower value of temperature. And when I'm, let's say, brainstorming or debating a creative thing, then
yeah, I'll try to show this with example also. You'll get some idea. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so now let me share my another screen. So now if you see the postman here, correct?
I can see, yes.
So let's say you are trying to make a call to one of your LLM model here for this, and you're using the chat completion. So you have defined your system prompt, user prompt, and these are the things like temperature, and max token will cover. So max token, like you control that, okay, how many tokens should be there in your response and everything. But if you talk about the temperature, and today if currently I'm hitting the temperature as 0.7, and if I make this request, so you see the output. So the instruction was given that, okay, your system instruction, you need to always reply in the rhymes, and today's Thursday. Now if a user is asking what day is today, so it is saying it's day that's bright and grand. So now if I hit everything is same, next time I get the another answer. Nothing is changing in everything. Your model is same, your system prompt is same, your user input is also same, but every time I keep on getting different answers, because it's trying to be more creative. But if let's change this temperature from 0.7 to, if I keep it as a temperature as a 0, and if I hit it again, so I get a very simple message, not like any creative first thing. So it's saying today's Thursday, don't you see, and some message. Next time if I hit it again, it will be similar. Here I see it's the same message. It's not changing. So because everything is same, it's trying to give me the same answer. If I'll keep on hitting with the same request, I'll always get the same or the almost same answer. So using this, you control that, okay, what should be the answers for the input. So, and this helps actually, let's say you are building some chat assistant where you want to catch the result of if the frequently users are asking the same questions. So you want to give the same answer to that user, or every time if I'm asking one question, I'm getting a different answer. So based on that, you can control using this temperature value also. So if I make it to 0.2, so it will be not exactly same, but it will change very little. So you can see it's changing, but it's not giving the answer as very creative. So using this temperature, we can control that also.
I think closer to 0, it's more rude.
Yeah, means that time it's a very very deterministic. It's not trying to be it's not adding any creativity, and whatever the thing, the way maybe it is trained, it's picking the first and it's always returning that. Internal, I don't know how this has been trained, but this helps actually to build your AI applications in a better controlled way. So you know that, okay, if today my one user is getting this answer for same query, I'm going to get the similar answer. And that also you can build some caching algorithm, caching mechanism in your side, so that whatever the questions are you are getting, and if you are setting the temperature as a 0, so next time if you get the same question, so instead of getting the answer from LLM, you can return from your caching also. Okay. No. Okay. So now this was that, okay, what are the things we use, and I think other things I will share in my document only, like what are the good examples of some prompts. And there are some prompt library, like, okay, if you want to take some reference, I'll ping some link in this our chat. You can take a look from that also. So there is a concept, people call it as a prompt library. So where like each teams has, whether it's Anthropic or OpenAI or Glean, they all have created a lot of good prompts. So you can open this just for a reference. Let's say if you are building any prompts for any thing, you can take a reference from that. I'm pinging in the chat only. Maybe in offline you can go to that. Okay. Okay. So now let's come to again. So in the this was just a prompt, but now again there are multiple ways to create a better prompts. We call it as a prompting techniques. And if I go, there will be one for role prompting. Second is your zero sort. And then you have a few sort. Then you have a chain of thought. Then you have a few sort chain of thought. I will give example for each. And then after that, zero sort chain of thought. And then you will have a prompt chaining. And then you will have the system prompt, which I was just giving the example. Using the system prompt also, you can control what should be the behavior. So now if we go with the one, which one is the role prompt? So it's like simply you will say that, okay, this is your role and give me this. Like you can say that, okay, you are architect or you are a software engineer, and then do this thing. So here you are assigning a role. So if I give an example, like you are a Shakespeare and English writer. Now your task is to write me a poem. So you will get an answer which will be matching with the tone of Shakespeare. So here you say that, okay, this is your role. Similar way, let's say if you are reviewing someone's PR, that time you want to give some comment, you can say that, okay, you are a JavaScript expert, or you are a Java expert, or you are a senior engineer. Now your job is to find the bug in this PR, or your job is to find what are the security finding can be there. Like that, you give some role and then ask, then provide instruction. So this is called as a role prompt. Second thing will be zero sort prompting, correct? So in this, actually, we don't say anything. We simply say that, okay, let's say if I give an example, say write an email asking. And if I say, let's say I'm asking extension for my project, which got delayed. So in this, I'm not given anything that, okay, what should be your tone or whatever. It will say that, okay, I want this. It's your zero shot prompting. So most of the time it works. So you give say that, okay, let's say someone has posted a message to you, want to reply, you copy paste that, okay, write a reply for this. But if you want to control with some tone or you want to give some example that, okay, for this behavior, I should have replied like that, or that behavior is different, I should have replied different. You give some example and now say that, okay, this is the current input. It will read that your previous examples and then it will provide the better result.
Hey, sorry, what is zero shot and few shot? I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'll come to few shot now. I think till now I just covered zero shot. In zero shot, you don't give any example, but in the
Okay.
few shot, you mention that, okay, this is example 1, 2, 3. Let's say if are saying you are building agent for reviewing any product, so whether it should be a positive or negative. So let's say if anyone has given the feedback as a great product and 10 on 10, you say that, okay, you should consider this as a positive feedback. And if anyone saying that, okay, did not work very well, you add as a negative feedback. And then if you say that, okay, super helpful, like you are giving some example for which kind of input, whether you are going to consider this as a positive or negative. Now comes that anyone is asking that, okay, it does not work. Okay, so this is the question. Anyone is giving the feedback. Because we have already given some few short examples, it will say that, okay, I have to reply for this as a negative only. I will not say that, okay, it's bad or whatever. I've seen the pattern. You are only interested on positive, negative, positive, negative. So this is the feedback I will give you. This is a negative feedback. So this
Okay.
So basically, but just to add some flavor to it, जो prompt engineering है उसको basically लिखने के कई तरीके हो सकते हैं.
हाँ, correct.
उसका structure मतलब किसी भी जब engineering has to be structured in such a way, right? So उसको structure करने के लिए they have sort of categorized in these category कि भाई अपने use case के हिसाब से तुम few short तरह से लिख सकते हो चीजों को, ठीक है? जैसे मतलब कोई पैराग्राफ लिखने का जो एक तरीका होता है वो few short हो सकता है, या तुम्हारा use case होता है chain of thought हो सकता है. तो ये लिखने के तरीके हैं, prompt लिखने के तरीके हैं multiple. Which one to choose depends on your use case.
Yes, correct. Yeah, based on your use case, you pick. Otherwise, sometimes people will complain that, okay, AI is not working. It's not able to answer a simple question also, correct? But if you add, you try to see that, okay, in which category it fits. And if you try to control with a different prompt strategy, you will get the result which you want.
So is there a way in your API calls also where you can specify, okay, I'm specifying using few short prompting or zero short prompting? इस तरह को भी है क्या?
नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ दिखा नहीं. All these things we just add in a system prompt only that, okay, this is the things, these things go as your system prompt, not this like T-layer. And then it automatically detect actually. I don't think this is like any LLM technology, just like we only define these are
so
the
only for our conversation with LLM.
Yes.
Exactly. ये conversation का structure है. That's it बस.
हाँ, और
हमारे लिखने का तरीका, अंग्रेजी लिखने का तरीका है, अंग्रेजी के पैराग्राफ. That's it.
Correct.
इसको कुछ नहीं पता.
People say that previously we had different language like Java, C, C++. Now we have one more programming language, that is English.
Yes, अंग्रेजी.
Just one thing I wanted to know. ये जैसे ऊपर you said there are different ways where you can, let's say, provide the context, you can provide these things, right? Context, input data, output data, and
no, but all these go as a single line only. If you see that, okay, in the prompt only, this was one prompt which has only instruction. This is a prompt which has instruction and some context. This is the prompt which has instruction, context, and input data, and this is the prompt which has everything. So ideally, a good prompt should have all these 4 categories.
okay, but my question is, are these two kinds of classification for similar kind of a things, or why there is another kind of classification? Because थोड़ा सा मुझे overlap भी लग रहा है. So let's say if I say few short prompting, I can say that, okay, I would have defined maybe very nicely what is the input input I'm giving and output I'm expecting, right? And context I'm giving. So is there an overlap? और इसका usage दोनों का conversational usage ही है, या फिर when I'm, let's say, integrating, I'm creating an application, right? Or let's say a software which is using, then also I can use some of these things in and pass parameters कि zero मैं यहाँ ये, this is my input, this is my output which I'm expecting, this is the context, something like that I can do with these, or these are only for conversations?
I think this context and all people add it like in your system prompt itself, that okay, this is your role which you should do, this is the context about the project, this is the input data, this is the, but everything goes as a single string as a one prompt. But you just add some you can say what we can to how the LLM will understand which one is instruction, which one is the context. You add these delimiters. Okay. So now after few sort we have, so I'm just covering very basics, but it's present in, I think, all the whatever the course you will go through that, they all cover this because your output will depend based on what system prompt or the prompt you are giving. So that's why these are very important to before building any agentic application. So in the chain of thought, actually what we do, we try to explain the LLM itself with our own reasoning. So let's say generally if we write any things, so here if you see, I have mentioned that okay, great product, 10 on 10, I mentioned as a positive. But here I did not mention that okay, why it's a positive feedback. But in the chain of thought, you add a reasoning also that okay, why it's a positive. So if we take any math example, I try to copy from some place. Just a second. Instead of typing everything, I just want to see, can I take it? Just a second.
Jitin, one question here. So, ये prompt engineering and all is also covered in academics or not?
ये कौन सा, ये वाला chain of prompt engineering?
पूरा ये जो what he's covering, right? So this is also covered in academics, or this is not covered in academics? Let's say I'm doing ML machine.
नहीं, मैंने actually ये थोड़ा सा पढ़ा था, मतलब I just like had a glimpse of it, but ये मेरे thesis के लिए इतना useful नहीं था actually ये, मतलब वो जो temperature control और वो सब.
Thesis तो always you take a specific field and you do thesis, right? But what was it there in your course or not?
नहीं कोर्स में नहीं था यार ये एक्चुअली. कोर्स में सिर्फ डीप लर्निंग और एमएल था. देन थीसिस के लिए अलग से मैंने रैग और ये सब पढ़ा था, मतलब जो वो कोर्स का पार्ट नहीं था मेरे थीसिस के लिए. मतलब बेसिकली सबको एक एक टॉपिक चूज करना होता ना, तो मैंने ये वाला टॉपिक चूज किया था, रैग वाला. तो मैंने इसको गो थ्रू किया था, मतलब टेम्परेचर कंट्रोल और वो सब का कि 0 से 1 के बीच में मतलब एंट्रोपी और ये कैसे मतलब वो होता है करके. अगर हम 0 रखेंगे तो एंट्रोपी बहुत लो होता है और वो वैसा आंसर देता है, और मतलब 0.5 के ऊपर होता है. मतलब मैंने बस वो थोड़ा सा गो थ्रू किया था, बट वो मेरे उसमें था नहीं, तो मैंने फिर वो छोड़ दिया वो.
Okay, so I have one question. So this prompting, right? I mean, this is actually separate for each model, or this structure is going to be similar for any model that you are going to interact with, like DeepSeek, OpenAI, or Llama, or...
It will be common for all actually. It is just your how well you can write your instruction. These are some techniques actually.
नहीं, so जो बाकी जो चीजें है ना कि context, input, output और फिर या फिर prompting, वो तो that is looks like a very kind of कि how you structure your conversation, right? That might be same, right? But let's say जो जैसे you are somebody is using temperature as an annotation, right, in your API.
Yeah, I meant that. Yeah,
something else, right? Because मुझे I don't think कोई standard इसका बना है अभी तक. So I'm not sure, मतलब because you have read about it. तो वो लेट्स से अगर मैं DeepSeek का इंटीग्रेशन करूंगा तो मैं क्या टेम्परेचर ही पास करूंगा, या वहां पे वो लोग बोलेंगे नहीं आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड टेम्परेचर, यू पास मी समथिंग एल्स, राइट? जो
आई थिंक दिस टेम्परेचर टॉप पे आई हैव सीन व्हाटएवर द मॉडल आई हैव यूज्ड, दे ऑल सपोर्ट दिस इन द सिमिलर fashion only. And the value also, like 0 is like for deterministic, 1 is for creativity. everything remains same for all the models.
Acha.
So one more thing is like so whenever someone whoever is building the model, right? So they actually tell uh, these things, right? I'm not sure whether we have some structure about how to train our model using these things, right? I mean, how they tell that model that okay. I mean, I'm not sure whether we will be learning that part or not, but uh,
That I think I cannot cover that because even I don't know.
hmm,
नहीं तो इसको लिख लेते हैं open question में. I'll write it
yeah,
down. And so I think that is important. Like the next level या depth में जाने का कि
yeah,
how are they using this parameter inside, right? Because one of the questions is of course to understand, right? Dheeraj, you asked this question in the earlier sessions that
yeah,
what happens in, and I think Ankita ने भी पूछा था, right? कि मैंने LLM को एक query दिया, right? अब वो अंदर क्या हो रहा है? It's only software engineering which is happening or something else is happening there, right? So
yeah.
that part we need to understand. So I think this will also be a question on top of it. अगर किसी को पता है ब्रिजेश, if you know, right, this because you're also reading this.
मतलब जस्ट गेस कर सकते हैं कि अंदर क्या हो रहा है, अभी तो नहीं। हम लोग जैसे ट्राई कर रहे थे ना वो अपना अप्रोच अंडरस्टैंड करने का, ट्रांसफार्मर वगैरह जब हमने पढ़ा था, तो लाइक अल्टीमेटली तो सब कुछ वहीं पे आके अटक जाता है। वो जो हमारे 3 वेक्टर्स थे WKV, वेट, ई और वैल्यू, वो सारा कैलकुलेशंस तो वहीं होता है। वेट मैट्रिक्स इज समथिंग that gets calculated when we train the model, right? So at the time of training, वो weight वाला matrix along with specified dimensions, जो कि हमने 768 dimension या 10,000 dimensions की बात करी थी, तो वो वाला ट्रेनिंग होने के बाद what we get as output is that weight matrix। और पता नहीं आप लोगों ने वो देखा कि नहीं, कोई भी आप ओपन सोर्स मॉडल ओपन करो एंड गो टू द फाइल सेक्शन, तो यू विल सी कि उसमें सबसे मेजर फाइल वो वेट वाली फाइल होती है, उसका एक्सटेंशन होता है कुछ पता नहीं, भूल गया उसका एक्सटेंशन, अभी देख सकते हैं हगिंग फेस पे वैसे। तो वो वही रहता है, वो ट्रेंड मॉडल है, मतलब हमारे पास वेट्स कैलकुलेटेड हैं एंड स्टोर्ड एज अ फाइल। अब उसके बाद जब हम इन्फ्रेंस करते हैं व्हिच इज पासिंग दीज प्रॉम्प्ट्स, तो अल्टीमेटली तो प्रोसेसिंग वही होती है कि दीज like gets tokenized and embeddings get created and then all those calculations happens and at the end वो output generate होता है। like first part वो weight cross e का क्रॉस प्रोडक्ट बनता है एंड जो भी उसका आउटपुट मैट्रिक्स होता है उसका वैल्यू के साथ क्रॉस प्रोडक्ट होता है एंड दैट गेट्स एज एन आउटपुट ऑन बेस्ड ऑन जो सॉर्ट मैक्स क्रिएट करते हैं हम, उसके बेसिस पे आउटपुट लेते हैं। कोर पार्ट तो वही है, हाउ इट इज हैपनिंग एट द और डीप लेवल में मे बी वी कैन ट्राई टू डिस्कस, बट अभी के लिए
Okay, I think because I think I understood one part actually. So I think we in the neural network, right? We have so many hidden layers. So maybe the temperature part will be. I mean, the more the value, the more hidden layer will be used, right? So as soon as you got some answer, then we use that answer and then we keep on generating more answers, right? Like because this called as generative, so we
I
keep on
think
generating the new token. So the more hidden layers will be used and more creative answer will get actually, right? So
कह सकते हैं, मतलब
yeah,
आई थिंक इट कैन बी पॉसिबल। और ऑल्सो अभी जैसे
नहीं,
ये डीप सीक का जो रेवोल्यूशन आया था।
एक मिनट ब्रिजेश, मैं ये वाला थोड़ा करेक्ट कर दूं, मुझे ये लग रहा है कि ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग गलत है जो धीरज ने बोला अभी, राइट? बिकॉज ये जो आपने न्यूरल नेटवर्क में कितने हिडन लेयर्स यूज किए होंगे, दैट इज प्रीटी डिटरमिन्ड, राइट? इट कैन नॉट बी चेंज्ड by users parameter.
no. What I'm saying is that sometimes what happens is that because like if you're doing the face recognition, right? First you find the corners, then you find the contours, then you find the shape, then you when you find one eye, then you go and find another eye, then you find the lips, nose, all those things, then you find, right? So at that time, in the face recognition, those hidden layers will be used. So same way, what I'm trying to say is that when you given a prompt and you given some temperature, so you can go to some different number of depth actually in that layer only, whatever in the hidden layer that you have. So based on that, matlab, I mean, you can be more creative actually, right? So you get generated some token. Based on that, you have applied some more thoughts, some more logic on that. That AI can do that, right? I mean, once you got the answer, you're done. I mean, if you're given 0, right? Once you got the answer, you're done. You're not going to give anything. You are not going to think more on that, right? But you have given, say, more value to the temperature, so it will keep on thinking and keep on applying more layers, output, and then transforming that result, generating more creative results, right?
So, मतलब maybe iterations में it could be dynamic, right? So you're saying maybe earlier it used to do 1 iteration, now it can do 2 or 3 iterations.
Yeah, that's what I'm
That
trying
you
to say.
can control, but number of architecture जो उसका बन गया है, that will not change, right? That's pretty fixed for.
That will never change. That will never change.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say,
But,
right? Yeah,
आई थिंक ये सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस का पार्ट होता है. इट्स नॉट लाइक कि मॉडल आपको क्या आउटपुट दे रहा है. मॉडल आउटपुट के बाद जो आप सेलेक्ट करते हो, राइट, जो आप फिल्टर्स लगाते हो कि आपको जैसे टॉप के बताएगा आपको कि इफ यू हैव गॉट, जैसे हम रिवल बैंक वाला एग्जांपल देख रहे थे, तो बैंक क्या सिग्निफाई करता है, उसके सपोज दे रहा है 100 रिजल्ट उसके पास है, तो ओनली टॉप 10 अगर हम कहेंगे केस 10, तो इट विल ओनली रिजल्ट आउट ऑफ टॉप 10 में रिटर्न करेगा, उसके बाद रिटर्न नहीं करेगा. तो आई थिंक ये जो सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस होता है ना, आफ्टर मॉडल हैज स्पिट आउट हिज आउटपुट, जो सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस है उसके बाद इट डिसाइड की फिल्टरिंग कैसे करना है.
अच्छा,
आई थिंक ना, जस्ट टू समराइज, आई थिंक
एक मिनट मैं ये भवेश वाले पे एक वो कर लूं. आप आई थिंक पॉइंट पे जा रहे हो. तो सो भवेश, यू आर सेइंग कि जो आउटपुट आएगा मॉडल का, सो नाउ देयर कुड बी वेरी वेरी डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ आउटपुट, बट अगर k की वैल्यू हमने फिक्स, जो टॉप के वीपी ने दिखाया था, हमने बोला कि k 5 है, तो वो सिर्फ पहले 5 को ही यूज करेगा, राइट, आंसर करने के लिए, बाकी नहीं यूज.
यस, तो जैसे मैं एक म्यूजिक प्लेलिस्ट प्ले कर रहा हूँ एंड आई एम आस्किंग हिम टू सेलेक्ट टॉप 10 फ्रॉम 100 जो भी फेमस सॉन्ग है ना, तो वो टॉप 10 मुझे सेलेक्ट करके देगा, बाकी 90 डिस्कार्ड कर देगा. जो भी टॉप 10 सबसे ज्यादा पॉपुलर होंगे वो सॉन्ग मुझे सेलेक्ट करके देगा, बाकी मतलब एनालॉजी है कि लाइक गिव मी टॉप 10 सॉन्ग फ्रॉम मोस्ट पॉपुलर 100 सॉन्ग्स, तो वो टॉप 10 ही सेलेक्ट करेगा, बाकी सेलेक्ट नहीं करेगा. इट्स लाइक अ फिल्टरिंग ऑफ आफ्टर द आउटपुट हैज कम.
गॉट इट. ठीक है.
वैसे मैंने अभी क्विकली देखा टेम्परेचर का, तो वो वही है कि जैसे एलएलएम जब टेक्स्ट जनरेशन कर रहा होता है तो इट जनरेट्स मल्टीपल टेक्स्ट, राइट. नेक्स्ट टोकन होता है वो उसके मल्टीपल वैल्यू जनरेट करता है एंड इट टेक्स द मोस्ट प्रोबेबल वन, अगर हम ऐसे कहें तो जब हम 0 सेलेक्ट करते हैं ना, तो वो मोस्ट प्रोबेबल की तरफ लेता है, पिक करता है, और जब हम हाई टेम्परेचर सेलेक्ट करते हैं 1, तो वो जो लेस प्रोबेबल वर्ड है उनको कंसीडर करता है. वो क्रिएटिव होता है ज्यादा रादर देन मोर प्रेडिक्टिव, या जो भी कह सकते हो. कुल मिला के हम नेक्स्ट आउटपुट, जैसे अब वो उसने बहुत सारे जनरेट किया, तो हम उसको वो कर रहे हैं, ट्यून कर रहे हैं कि कौन से वाले वो टोकन्स को ले, उसमें से सेलेक्ट करें.
ओके,
सेलेक्टिविटी थोड़ा उसमें हम ट्यून कर रहे हैं.
तो मतलब इसलिए ओवरऑल ये हुआ कि विल गो मोर, विल हैव मोर ऑप्शंस एक्चुअली व्हेन लाइक वी आर चूजिंग द क्रिएटिव, आई मीन लाइक गिविंग द मोर ऑप्शंस एक्चुअली. सो
हाँ, काइंड ऑफ.
हाँ सर, आपको कुछ बोलना था अंकित?
हाँ, मैं ये बोल रहा था कि हमारे सारी कन्वर्सेशन से इट्स लुक्स लाइक कि वी हैव कवर्ड मल्टीपल चैप्टर्स. मतलब हम चैप्टर को एज अ लाइक विड्थ navigated the width of all these concepts and techniques. Okay, the next step should be कि let's try to connect the dots. ठीक है, और let's try to cover the.
आवाज ब्रेक हो रही है आपकी. I can't hear you.
Yeah, we lost you.
Also, now the what should be the. अच्छा, मतलब I was trying to say कि we have
lost
navigated.
your 20 seconds.
अच्छा, अभी आ रही है.
हाँ, this is fine now.
Connecting the dots के बाद क्या कह रहे थे आप?
I'm saying कि we have navigated through the widths of all these chapters, but now we need to connect the dots and we need to cover the depth as well. Now उसके लिए motivation कहाँ से है, मतलब कहाँ से शुरू करें? सब कुछ scattered पड़ा हुआ, कहाँ से start करें? See, as a like let pick one of the 14 like 12 principles of Amazon में एक होता था work backwards. So हमें goal set करते हैं कि let's create a LLM offering. एक LLM product बनाते हैं, तो हम we'll start everything from there. We'll create LLM model, ठीक है, what would that mean, सारे पैरामीटर उसके लिखेंगे, ठीक है, वहां से बैकवर्ड स्टार्ट करते हैं, फिर उसको ट्रेन करना भी अपना होगा, उसको एज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफरिंग भी हम उसको देंगे। इसको अगर ये प्रोडक्ट माइंडसेट करके एक स्टार्टअप वाला माइंडसेट करके हम करना चाहते हैं, मैं एक स्टार्टअप बनाना चाह रहा हूँ फॉर एग्जांपल, तो उस केस में हम वहां से स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, एंड वी दैट approach actually will cover or connect all these things. Then we will come to know कि what is architecture being used, ठीक है, कैसे LLM ट्रेन हो रहा है, तो क्या क्या actually what does that mean, ठीक है, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग के पर्सपेक्टिव से, ठीक है, इस तरीके से हम उसको we can try to do that. मतलब एक just
नहीं, I think valuable feedback है. What I can do is I can take this point और इसको बाद में एक बार brainstorm करते हैं कि आप what do you mean and how we can structure this, because इसका time investment काफी है. और एक ये तो था कि जो प्रोग्रामिंग वाले एस्पेक्ट थे, राइट, जैसे टेंसरफ्लो के एग्जांपल्स, न्यूरल नेटवर्क को आप कैसे ट्रेन करोगे, एंड देन जनरली आपको अगर कोई मॉडल, प्री ट्रेन मॉडल उठाना है एंड देन उसको ट्रेन करना है, तो वो सब कुछ चीजें मैंने मेंशन की हुई हैं व्हिच इज लाइक मिस्ड आउट फ्रॉम द अर्लियर सेशंस. तो दैट आई वाज थिंकिंग ऑफ डूइंग, प्लानिंग ऑन डूइंग, राइट. लेकिन आप क्या सोच रहे हो और कैसे करना चाहिए, जो आप बोल रहे हो ना कि वो स्टार्टअप माइंडसेट और कुछ प्रोडक्ट ऑफरिंग, वो एक बार देख लिया.
मतलब ओके, दैट इज वन पार्ट. मैं प्रॉपर एक सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग के पर्सपेक्टिव से करना चाहता हूँ कि एक लेट्स स्टार्ट फ्रॉम द रिक्वायरमेंट, फिर उसका एक प्रॉपर आर्किटेक्चर बनाते हैं, डिजाइन बनाते हैं, एलएलएम प्रोडक्ट ऑफरिंग का प्रॉपर कवरिंग एवरीथिंग, ठीक है. दिस विल बी माय मॉडल, यहाँ से डेटा लेगा, ऐसे ट्रेन करेंगे, फिर उसको ट्रेन होने के बाद ऐसे मेरा स्टोर होगा, यहाँ पे मेरी सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियरिंग आएगी, फिर उसे एज अ प्रोडक्ट ऑफर करूंगा, ठीक है. एक प्रॉपर एक वो जर्नी जो होती है ना, एक वो करने की, प्रोडक्ट बनाने की, लेट्स ट्राई टू लाइक डाइव इनटू दैट. उससे हमारा सारा कुछ क्लियर हो जाएगा, कहीं कुछ बचेगा नहीं, आर्किटेक्चर कवर हो जाएगा, डिजाइन कवर हो जाएगा, चैलेंजेस कवर होंगे, ठीक है. व्हाट कुड बी द, अब जैसे आई मीन आई एम जस्ट थिंकिंग आउट लाउड, वेरी आउट लाउड, कि मतलब जैसे गवर्नमेंट इज आल्सो सपोर्टिंग गुड एआई स्टार्टअप्स, मतलब नॉट जस्ट कि कुछ भी चैटबॉट कुछ भी बना के रख दिया, ऐसे नहीं, बट समथिंग इम्पैक्टफुल, मतलब जो हेल्प कर रहा है, मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल फिक्सिंग दी ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का कोई एक इशू उठा लिया, ठीक है, जो कैसे गूगल मैप्स देता है अच्छा, लेकिन हाउ कैन वी डू इट बेटर, कि मतलब कैसे ट्रैफिक को और मैनेज किया जा सकता है. बेंगलोर का ट्रैफिक हो गया, वहां का डेटा उठा लिया, इस तरह, मतलब आई एम जस्ट थ्रोइंग आउट सम आइडियाज हियर, मतलब नॉट रैंडमली, मतलब. तो इस वे में
सर, आई गॉट द आइडिया. इसको एक बार कॉल के बाद 10 मिनट डिस्कस करें, दैट व्हाट वी कैन डू ऑन दिस एस्पेक्ट, राइट.
जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल मुझे अब किसी लाइक वी जनरली गो थ्रू दैट बुक ना, जिसमें वो एलेक्स ल्यू करके उसमें सारे वो थे आर्किटेक्चर वगैरह डिजाइन करने होते हैं, ठीक है. हेलो.
हाँ.
तो जस्ट लाइक दैट कि वंस वी स्टार्ट फ्रॉम एन आर्किटेक्चर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ना, तो वी गेट ऑल द आइडिया एंड नो अबाउट द चैलेंजेस, फिर ग्रेजुअली इसको इम्प्लीमेंट भी करते हैं. लेट्स डू दिस, मतलब एक बार कर लेंगे तो वो सब क्लियर हो जाएगा. We'll be in a interview ready state कि मुझे अब एक LLM मॉडल वाले उसमें जाना है, और who knows कि एक स्टार्टअप ही बन जाए जिसको मोदी भी सपोर्ट कर जाए. अश्विनी क्या नाम उनका, वो तो बोल ही रहे हैं, IT एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स जो मिनिस्टर हैं, वो तो बोल ही रहे हैं कि लेट्स डेवोस में गए थे जो, आपने बोला भी था कि मतलब इंडिया इज नॉट डूइंग थर्ड ग्रेड AI कर रहा है, बट या सो वी हैव ह्यूज पोटेंशियल and support from government also, but yeah, again it's challenging also, ठीक है, साथ में, but it should be like learning should be the first priority rather कि चलो ठीक है एक स्टार्टअप बन गया, कुछ कर लिया, so learning should be the priority.
ठीक है
इसलिए इसको we can move ahead, ठीक है.
एक मैंने लिंक शेयर किया है जो मैंने पहले भी किया था, तो इस पे आप लोग वो देख सकते हो कि टेम्परेचर सेट करने पे कैसे प्रेडिक्ट कर रहा है वो. विजुअल वाला है, विजुअल ट्रांसफॉर्मर. तो टेम्परेचर टॉप बी, जब आप उसमें वेरी करोगे ना स्क्रॉल करके, तो वो बताएगा कि जो टोकन आउटपुट है, लास्ट टोकन कौन सा पिक कर रहा है उसमें से.
ये बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग लग रहा है मुझे.
ये तो मैंने शेयर किया था, मैंने एक्चुअली वो अपना पेज ही शेयर किया था जो मैंने एक वेबसाइट बनाई थी, उसमें ये लिंक था.
अच्छा,
एनीवेज,
ठीक है. वीपी लेट्स कंटिन्यू.
ओके,
एजेंडा पे रहते हैं, राइट, नहीं तो अदरवाइज मिस हो जाएगा काफी.
Sure.
Guys, let's not diverge. 15-20 मिनट हम लोगों ने इस पे दे दी. अगर इस तरह कुछ डिस्कशन करना है, we can do it afterwards. ठीक है, let him complete.
Agree.
Go ahead, VP.
Okay, so I think this chain of thought और अभी तक जो prompting हमने discuss किया, it's like almost same only, but only difference is in chain of thought we ask LLM to show your thinking, like whatever the why you are thinking that this should be the answer and what was the your thinking model. So you ask that, okay, show me everything step by step. So, and when we ask that, okay, the few sort means we provide some example. Let's say you give any mathematical problems and how you have solved that, you add as a one step by step. So, and then you give the next step, means the user question. So in the answer you will get the result in a step by step what was the reasoning it took. So let me add some example also. I ask LLM only to create some example for this. So let's say this is one of the code for, or you can say as a prompt where you ask that, okay, solve the problem, and you add, I think this line itself will tell the LLM that, okay, I should be providing the reasoning to as answer to the user also. And instead of only giving the final answer, user is also interested to see the step by step. So that's why we call it as a chain of thought. And in that you mentioned that, okay, store sells notebooks for $3 each. And if you buy 4 notebooks, what should be the answer? But if I give the same thing in that my LLM, I will get the answer along with what was the logic it took to decide that, okay, this is the answer. But in the few sort, what we do, we say that, okay, you give with some examples again. Say that, okay, if there is any problem statement, you add with some sample like that, okay, this is like one for mathematical, you can say. You add one question, this is the problem, this is the reasoning, and this is the final answer. Same goes for problem, reasoning, final answer, and then you ask the question. Here it will look like very simple, but this helps, let's say if you're building your own custom agent, that time this few short chain of thought works because there you have your own custom requirement, correct? They does not understand your business domain and how I should be proceeding for debugging or how I should be looking the information. There, if you have to do it by yourself, what route you would have taken, that you provide with some examples. And then in the answer, you will get that, okay, then you will see that, okay, your agent is working. It's not trying to pick some random things. So if I give you a real world example, let's say you are trying to build any agent for your ops team where they are monitoring their infra. And if you simply say that, okay, if any things like a CPU is going high, do all the debugging step by step. So it will try to do some random things. So, but if you give some example that, okay, if your service one CPU is going high, then you will do the debugging in such a way that you'll see that, okay, what are the upstream and downstream dependency I have for this service one? What should be the impact? You add some steps. Then next time, whenever you run this agent in your CI/CD, whatever the place you have deployed, automatically where it's keep on monitoring the system. And if it find that, okay, there is whatever the threshold you have defined, if it goes beyond that, it will try to follow all the instruction which you have given, and accordingly it will say that, okay, now whether this spike is valid or it will go down after 5 minutes because it's just a spike because of some, like it's the morning time or the evening time where you see that, okay, you get more traffic. So that's the main difference between your few sort and the zero sort. Any doubt on this?
So what I saw is that you're connecting this with the agentic behavior also, right?
It means these things will be used there, but there, because everything is just a prompt, correct? You say that, okay, you need to think, create a plan, and then act. So, but to come that, we should know that, okay, what we should be writing as a prompt to my whatever the agent I'm going to create.
So chain of thought is like is it like LLM will behave in agentic way inside, and then use these as like a step of
No, chain of thought agent will not behave as agentic way, but you will get to know that, okay, why this agent, whatever this LLM at this point, even it's like one shot, like you give the input, you get the answer. It's not doing anything extra, but you will know that okay, why it is working and why it is not working. So if you see the reasoning, why it is saying that okay, this might be an issue or not issue, whatever the reasoning it has took, you can read the reasoning and then improve it in the next attempt. So otherwise we simply see that okay, I'm saying that okay, debug this, it is not able to debug. But if you want to see why LLM is not able to debug, you ask that okay, show me step by steps, how are you debugging? Then you say that okay, you are missing that. Okay, let's say if I'm debugging a Java, then you say that okay, this Java code is written, it's running on the Java 17 or Java 21 where this library is not there, or that method is deprecated. So you add an example. Otherwise you'll think that okay, I have given all the instructions that okay, you are a Java expert and everything, but you are not able to debug. So that helps to make a better AI product if you use a chain of thought. Again, this we don't always use it. Initially, in our early phases, we try to use this because it will add additional cost also, because your output will have a more number of tokens, and each token will add additional cost. So this generally, when you're building anything new, that time we prefer this thing. And mostly we see that okay, let's say if I'm running in a debug mode, so all these instruction or system prompts, you can create a dynamic also. So if you say that okay, you have deployed in production where you are only giving simple example, but you don't want your user to see what is the reasoning it is taking. But if there is something going on and you want to do a debugging from your side, so that time you can inject this chain of thought prompt to see that okay, what value you will get, and you can enable it for some users or some for your local environment. Okay.
So this token utilization point Varun just brought up, and it's very important point. So I mean, asking LLM is one thing, getting your task done, but you need to be efficient in doing that. Why so is because one is you have limited number of tokens. Tokens are both considered input text and output, I think. Let's consider output generation part. So when you get, let's say, subscription to any of the Copilot or something, you have limited token specified that these are the max number of tokens you can use within months or per day. So you also think about putting prompts in a way so that you get your questions answered, but you also get yourself within limit. And this also helps in like what do you say, the like when if you ask like 5 times LLM, it will run your query 5 times, it will do the calculation 5 times, it will utilize all those electricity, everything, processing power. But what if you get your answer just in a single prompt? So that is efficient in many other ways. I think that's why these prompting techniques are like more important.
Yeah, I think it's making sense to me that because internally, even one line of input we are giving to LLM, I think is doing a lot more processing, right?
Yeah.
Consuming the energy and everything. So now it starts, पूरा prompt engineering is starting now making sense to me, right? कि क्यों इस तरह से structure करने की जरूरत है, या whatever Varun talked about, right? Why all of these are important.
Right.
Otherwise मुझे ये लग रहा था कि ठीक है, एक बार में आंसर नहीं मिला, second time try कर लेंगे, third time try कर लेंगे, right? But there is significant cost to this, right? Trying multiple times.
Yes. Because see, when we use this subscription model, that time we don't much worry about the price, correct? Because we have already paid a monthly subscription. But when you are building any production grade AI enabled application, that time we need to take care about all those things, and that time it will matter that okay, because your latency will also depend that okay, how big response you want to get, and the cost will also matter. So it's not like that okay, I'm going to use LLM for everything. Maybe in the next session we can also see we use LLM first to take help, And then we try to build the similar solution without LLM, creating as a rule-based thing. So that whatever the things I know that, okay, I have run this application for 1 month or 1 quarter, and I see the most of the questions comes in this category. Can I do it with the rule-based engine itself instead of having LLM for everything? So like that also we do that, okay, whatever the things come. So if my rule is able to detect, good. If rule is not able to detect, then only I will go for LLM. So using this also we optimize in the cost and latency also, because LLM will definitely add a lot of latency, and mostly when you try to build the any RAG system, that time also everything will matter, that okay, how much context you can add. So it's not like that, okay, if I have to I cannot provide a lot of instruction as a prompt itself. That itself will add a lot of input token. So there also there are a lot of strategy to optimize the, let's say you're building a RAG, you will have a system of maybe once I'll cover the RAG, that time I will tell what are the best practice, what I have followed to build a good RAG system, and we'll take everyone's input on that also. But yeah, now the next thing is your simple prompt chaining. So in the prompt chaining, actually it's a very simple thing. So you first give some one prompt and get the output from LLM, and then again give that output plus additional prompt, and then try to get another output. So like that you keep it in a chain form, so that in the final you know that, okay, what is your final prompt which is going to work. If I try to give some example, let me try to get some example for that also. Or if I simply talk, like say you have to send a mail, correct? So generally what we say that, okay, you add everything in one shot, that okay, write means review this PR, and whatever the comment you have, comment it, and then send a summary. So instead of giving everything in one, you can create 3 smaller prompts. So one just for reviewing, and whatever the output we get, that you give as input plus additional prompt. That prompt is only focusing on that, okay, your job is to only write a comment. And the third prompt will be that, okay, these are the comments which I have written as input data. And now for this prompt, I'm giving the instruction as that, okay, your job is to write a summary or the executive summary of this, whatever the PR review comment I have been added. So instead of asking everything in one shot, that, okay, this is the paper, read this paper and give me that, okay, what are the 5 tips or tricks, whatever you found. So you distribute, means you create, you break it into smaller multiple prompts, so that, okay, you know, one prompt is doing only one thing. So like one prompt is working on only one instruction, and that one instruction is that, okay, my job is at this point to review this code. I don't care about anything else, that, okay, I need to summarize this also, or I need to create I need to create comments also. So that if you give everything in one shot, you will not get a better result. But if you distribute in a different smaller prompts and combine everything as a chain prompt chaining, you will get a better result. Any doubt? I'll try to explain with some example.
How it is achieved, like prompt chaining in chat? I think it will not, or maybe, but I think through APIs it is done.
Through API it will be done. Like you will have so instead of giving users everything in one shot, generally when we say, you will have something called as a role. You get a message, means, sorry, not message, as a system. Maybe let me open my Postman. You will see that. Just a second. Okay. So this is called as your system prompt. So first prompt you give it here that, okay, your task is to review the PR, and you add a context about the PR content here. So this can be your variable when you're writing code. And then you say that the next time again, so you make a call with only this payload, and next time when you want to make a call, you can add this, that okay, this is what I reviewed and this is what assistant means. So whatever the answer I got from the previous, whatever the response you get from this API, that you add it here as a assistant data, means whatever the first prompt data, you can say the output one, and then you add here that okay, create a one-liner comment for this. Then after that, again, it will do that, okay, I need to work on this only, or you can remove this directly, and because in the output itself it will have everything, you can say that okay, this is the system prompt and this is the context, and you need to only do on the writing the comments. And then the third time you can say that okay, this is the system prompt and this is for output 2, and summarize this review. Instead of asking everything in one system prompt saying that okay, review this PR and create a one-liner comment and summarize, and then give the context, you break it down to multiple smaller prompts. So here what will happen, here it is trying to do multiple things. There it might not, some place it might break, but if you break it down, then you can choose a different model also, that okay, when you are trying to do a code review, that time you need a model which is good in the coding. But when you're trying to summarize, at that time you don't need any coding model, correct? You need just any lightweight model which can summarize the context. So that also you can use it. So using that also you can save some cost. So for each, so the task is same. You break it down to multiple things, and then you say that okay, instead of I'm doing everything in one, but for a user it will be like only he will see that okay, I have submitted my PR and your PR review agent is doing everything behind the scene. But how you are doing it, that you can control, whether you want to do it in one go, giving everything as one context, or you want to break it down in multiple things, and then you keep on providing input as a stream, saying that okay, yeah, your PR review is done, now working on commenting, now working on executing the summary, and then this is the final output.
Got it. What is typically meant by, let's say, these two roles, system and user, I've seen frequently, right? So is there a very system level connotation to these?
Yes. So like there are mostly three actually: system, user, and assistant. Also, there is one more I've seen, assistant. So system is mainly that okay, and this will come after this. So you say in the system, you define that okay, what is your role? Means what are the strict instruction you are giving to your model, saying that okay, you should be doing this only. And there you can add all the rules you want to apply, like that okay, whether if a user is asking something else which you should not be doing, that also you can add as a system prompt itself. Or there are concept called as guardrails, input guardrails, output guardrails, that also you can apply. But mostly in the system prompt also you can put saying that okay, your job is to only work on the math related questions. But if anyone is asking to write a poem, that time your system prompt will help to detect that okay, this question is not any mathematical question, so I will not answer it. But if you just simply build that prompt saying that okay, whatever the user is asking, provide an answer, then they can ask anything. But using the system prompt, you give that okay, these are the controls, and you can say that okay, if any if one is trying to get the password or whatever, that also you can control from the system prompt. And the user prompt means whatever the user is saying, so that LLM will understand that okay, I was supposed to do these things, but user is trying to get something extra done from me, but that I was not supposed to do. So from there, LLM will be smart enough to reject the question. And the assistant is that whenever you build any chatbot, whatever the output you got, that you add as an assistant, so that the next time when you ask again the question user is asking, so it remembers that okay, what was the previous conversation I had, to understand that okay, whether this was a user only given the answer or I have given the answer. So you ask a question, you got some answer, and then again okay, you are having some follow-up question. So in that follow-up question, sir, if you add the previous answer as assistant, it will know that, okay, previously I have responded with this answer, and the user is saying that, okay, this is not a correct answer. I want something else. So instead of, if I don't add this, it will again give me the same, it might again give me the same answer. But using this, it will see that, okay, I had already answered this, but user is saying that, okay, this is not whatever I wanted. Let me try what are the other things I have available. So these are the main three things I have seen which is getting used. This system, someplace based on whatever the SDK you use, they call it as a developer also.
Okay.
But mostly, I think these are the three.
Also, these are all kind of baked into the SDK part. There is nothing to do with, how LLM is behaving here. For LLM, every prompt is same. It has to just generate the next token. That's what LLM does. But yeah, these are all role thing and whatever Varun is showing. This is all built into the APIs, the SDK, which is built on top of. Yeah.
I mean, whatever the different SDK you'll use, they will have a different way to ask the same things. But whatever things you wanted to do, like what we discussed in the prompt, we try to, let's say when you're building any application, correct, you will also try to create as a modular kind of thing. So there also you control that, okay, these are the instruction I'm giving, so that you can also maintain some standard in your coding style also.
Got it, I think. This is one layer above the LLM layer.
Yes.
Which consumes all of these, and then it internally it will again create some.
So because the internal of LLM, I cannot cover because I don't know. But whatever the things means, I use these things, whatever is available in the market, as a build application.
Right.
Okay, Govindan.
Okay, so what was the next things? Yeah, so these are the main things generally we use in our prompting, and using this only we do. We are able to build multiple things. But the next, I think the last time we have also seen the tooling concept. So should I again cover it, or we got good understanding about the tooling part?
नहीं tooling दोबारा cover नहीं करते हैं. What we have covered, I think, is okay. Anyway, recorded video is there, right?
Because that day we did not cover in detail. Actually, that's why I was thinking whether
if there are more items on that list, then you can cover that again. Some additional things you have.
Okay.
And if there are like, so मतलब आज prompt ही cover करना था क्या, और there are
नहीं, मतलब कवर तो बहुत करना था, बट मैं थोड़ा बाहर गया था, तो मैं भी प्रिपेयर नहीं हूँ विद एग्जांपल्स एक्चुअली, so that's the main reason.
ठीक है.
So mainly prompt में था, but if you want, I can showcase some of the examples, like how people are doing prompt hedging, prompt hacking, prompt injection, like how you can protect your system by doing some best practice or the good practice of protecting your AI application. So I have some examples, but again, these are simple theory only. For that, I will simply showcase one presentation which I have, which I was following. That should cover a lot of things. Just let me get that also.
So just to set the context, all these prompt engineering techniques, becomes very important when we, delve into this agentic AI thing, because agents are, again, so we saw this API layer, which is like assigning a role and then, hitting LLM to generate the tokens and then giving you the output. But when now agents are built on top of it, agents are nothing but those are the, those will query this LLM on behalf of you. So one is like you are putting all these prompts and then sending to LLM and get your output. Now you'll hand over this responsibility to agents. So agents are just a process, nothing, a function कह सकते हो. So you will ask agent to do this job. Now when you will create the agent, you will programmatically define that how agents will prepare this API query, what will be the prompt there, and what will be the output of that agent. And then your agent is ready. You will ask your agent, and your agent will query the LLM, give you the output. There will be multiple agents to do one of your task. So they will coordinate among themselves. There are A2A protocols, agent to agents, based on that they will communicate. And these things become important because your agent has to be a stopping condition. Like, when should it stop querying the LLM? I mean, there must be a deterministic point, right? When you want to say that, okay, my job is done. Otherwise, your agent will just keep on querying. They will never be able to decide based on their own thing that it is done. So I guess it becomes important there, is prompting things.
So Brajesh, जो ये agent होता है, so basically अगर मैं I'm using for example Git Copilot, GitHub Copilot, right? वो integrated है with my ये IntelliJ IDEA की या cursor है for example, ठीक है? उसमें I can select की ask या agent, मैंने agent select कर रखा है, and I ask it कि create this code and all those things. So is there any agent running on my local system also that is ultimately connecting back to the जो भी सर्विस होगी पीछे से कर्सर की गिट Copilot की, या agent does not run on the local machine? Where does it run actually? Or it runs on both the machines depending on like how they have designed. मतलब इस agent को मैं कहाँ मानूं कि कहाँ रन हो रहा है?
मतलब सर, इसको मैं आप कह नहीं सकते कि वो कहाँ रन हो रहा है. इट्स अ प्रोसेस. आइदर इट कैन बी अ होस्टेड थिंग, कहीं भी वो. So agent hosting is one more thing, is part of MLOps. So
मतलब client side होगा ये, या जो ऑफर कर रहे हैं, मतलब एज अ लाइक क्लाइंट सर्वर की तरह मैं कर लेता हूँ. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम क्लाइंट, मैं कर्सर मैंने अपने विंडोज इस पे लैपटॉप पे डाल रखा है और मैं अपना डेवलपमेंट कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है? तो आई हैव बिकम द क्लाइंट, और जो भी मुझे पीछे से मेरा कोड जनरेट करके भेज रहा है, दैट इज, लेट्स से दैट इज सर्वर, ठीक है? तो एजेंट यहाँ पे रन हो रहा होगा या वहां रन हो रहा होगा जो मुझे भेज रहा है, सारी इंफॉर्मेशन बता रहा है?
नहीं, एजेंट तो आपका क्लाइंट पे ही रन हो रहा है, एंड इन दैट
क्लाइंट मतलब मेरे लैपटॉप पे है ना?
Yes, आपके लैपटॉप. So when you install the Visual Studio Code or cursor, you have given a permission to that application that okay, I can access your file system, correct? And then the agent is like that, okay, now you select the agent mode in your VS Code editor. You say that okay, create some application. And why cursor is able, VS Code is able to do? Because you have given a permission to create a new file, read the file content, and write the file. So all these permissions you have already given, and when you have built your agentic application, you mention that okay, whenever anyone is asking, there is a tool I am providing that okay, that tool is going to create a new file. So that your application which you are using, it has all the application installed and it is able to create a file. So you defined everything in your agent only. What are the things I should do? So that's why in all the editor they provide the capability to customize also that okay, you want that agentic mode, but it should only read the file, it should not modify it. All those things you control that okay, what are the tools I'm going to enable or disable. I can show some example also, but for that we need to stop the recording, but then I'll show you the example also, how you can create your own custom agent in the VS Code also.
Okay, अच्छा, okay, custom agent, ठीक है.
Yeah, custom agent which runs in your local and you create, everything is running on your local only.
So agent by definition is something
which is getting done automatically. You are not doing it, but it's getting done automatically. You have given instruction that okay, what are the things you should do, what you should do first, what should you do second. All those things you have already defined. So this VS Code cursor they have already predefined instruction.
Okay.
If anyone is asking, I'm first going to see that, okay, if he's going to ask me to write a function for these things, I know that, okay, what I should write. So first thing, you get the text only. Then after that, because I'm running in the agent mode and the user has already given me a capability to create a file also. So I will create a file. There also you will see sometimes they will ask, should I create in the sandbox environment, or you have given me the permission for all the system, correct? All those things you control it and it runs. And when we say that, okay, we are trying to build some agentic AI application. So let's say if I give an example. So generally, if you build any support chat where you ask a question, you get the answer. Those are like simple RAG. But if you say that, okay, you are facing some problem, and in that you have already added a capability that, okay, it should be able to fix also. So let's say you have built one agentic application where you say that, okay, there is some issue in the application X. You provide that, but that agentic will see that, okay, you have already provided a tooling saying that, okay, if anyone is asking to there is any issue or not, so you go first check what is the behavior. So you have already provided a tool to fetch data from the API using the function calling a tool method. You get the answer. Then in your agentic instruction itself, you have told that, okay, if the response of the tool is this, you do that. So you have also provided one tool to do a deployment also, or to a restart also. So all these things you define, and in the LLM you give the instruction as a system prompt what you should do and what, and based on that it works. It should not simply say that, okay, there is some problem, this is the problem, but what next to do. Instead of you telling, you have already given that instruction to your LLM saying that, okay, if this is the problem, you do this, if this is the problem, you do that, and to do that, this is the capability you have. That creates as an agentic application. But behind the scene, everything is just making a API call with different capability.
Okay, ठीक है. So sure. मतलब ठीक है. Agent मतलब in a way I can say it's already baked into the SDK or built into the SDK. Kind of, मतलब जो मैं कर्सर का है जो भी यूज कर रहा हूँ जब डाउनलोड कर रहा हूँ उसको, और it has already defined steps. इसमें सारे defined है कि this is how you have to do multi-step जो भी होता है उसमें it has defined already that. ठीक है.
Yes. I'll show you also. Let me show you that if you're using the VS Code, how you can create a custom agent also. Okay. Let me quickly share my screen.
और agent मतलब agent ठीक है, it can be on your machine or it can be hosted somewhere on the cloud. So
I mean, it depends what kind of agent. I think at this point, server looking for the editor agent only. But yeah, when you are building your application, you will deploy somewhere. So it will be like deployed in your VPS, and from there it's keep on looking and keep on performing. So I think recently there is a new bot which is famous, Cloud bot. Everyone is talking about that only. And to use that, what they are doing, they are buying some extra VPS. They are giving the complete permission, and they are integrating with their WhatsApp, the Discord, not the Discord, Telegram. So they are saying that, okay, I can control everything from my chat only. So you just give the instruction that, okay, check my mails and reply. Is there any mail we got from a medical team or whatever the finance team, or is there any EMI pending? You just ask, and you have already given a capability or the access to that agent which you built to read your mail, correct? You have already provided your all the API key to read the Gmail, and you have also provided all the key to send a message. Everything you provide, and then you say that, okay, you do it. So it will read, it will try to understand, and then it will act on it. There also you build in such a way that you say that, okay, something you trust the LLM, but something you say that, okay, LLM should not do. It should only give that, okay, this is what I am trying to execute. So that we call it as a human in the loop. So where you say that, okay, you decide what you have to do, but don't execute. Before execute, you need my approval. So that's where you add a human in the loop and say that, okay, it detect that, okay, there is some issue in your application. I'm going to restart. LLM is thinking that restart will resolve this. So whether you trust the LLM or you say that, okay, restart, or you say that, okay, reject, don't restart. So all these things, I think we only add all the capability, what my LLM should do. And if we say that, okay, it is able to act on behalf of you, then we call it as agent.
Yeah, sounds good. I got the idea actually. Yeah, that's why actually it's a more of an architectural choice where, how do I want to use agent, how do I want to deploy it. Okay, it depends on the application and architecture to architecture. Sure.
Yes.
It makes more sense. Yeah. I got the idea कि मतलब क्या कर रहा है, एक तरीके से proxy हुआ है LLM का, sort of.
There are also there are something one term called as a react. So first it will do reasoning. Like currently when we use Chat GPT and everything, we are just doing a reasoning part, correct?
Okay.
But you say that you do a reasoning and then act on it. So that is also very famous term in that LLM called as a react.
Okay.
And it's not the same as React JS, but it's React.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, but sometimes people get confused also that, okay, I know the React. What is this new React? It's a region and act. And that also means that the agent can be built with multiple ways. One is that using your React. Second is you build for everything, you build a tool itself, correct? If you want to do something, you can do from the APIs, then you simply build a tool. Or you build a multiple small agent and then you build the agent orchestrator. So for one agent is only responsible for doing one thing. And now I need to hand off this request to each agent that my orchestrator agent will take care. And you can consider this as that, okay, let's say if you are trying to reach out to Airtel, and they, instead of having their own, means your support team, if they're trying to build an agent, what they will do, they will build one agent which is like a user entry point. Everyone will interact with that, but one agent will not do everything. So one agent is there that, okay, whenever if any user request come for onboarding any new users, there is one agent dedicated to that. Or if any request comes for the existing customer, there is one agent for that. If any request comes for a refund related thing, correct, there is another agent is there. Like that, you build multiple small agent. So whenever the user asks a question that, okay, I want a refund for my this connection, then the orchestrator agent will think that, okay, this request belongs to that category, let me hand it off this to another agent. That agent will get that all the inputs, and based on that it will see that, okay, what is the user ID he has provided, what plan he has, what refund he is asking. It will automatically keep on checking the internal system using their internal API and see that, okay, whether this is a genuine request for a refund or not. And based on that, it will start acting on it. And let's say if before initiating the refund, I want someone to approve. So that time you can involve the human in the loop. So there someone from the team, they will see that, okay, this was all the validation which a human was supposed to do. Everything is done, but now I just need to approve. So one click approve, you can implement and it's done.
Sure. More like a maker checker, type of.
Means where you see that, okay, it should not initiate the payment on behalf of my, correct? There you want someone to check. But some place you say that, okay, someone raised a query where they are facing some slow internet speeds or it's not connecting, then you can provide that what are the steps to resolve. There you don't need me to come and review that, okay, what step I'm trying, because I have already trained you with that, okay, if this is the issue, you need to try these are the steps and it will solve, it might solve. So all that can be automated. But where you see that, okay, it is going to create some impact, again, you control what are the things you want to trust LLM to do, or what are things you want to have a check, that you can control.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like more or less it's evolving in the same architectural direction that more or less services evolved. So on the on the same thing, I have one more question. Say, can there be communication between agents in different domain, completely different domain, as in कि there is a company Microsoft, उसका agent है और उसको कनेक्ट करना है, या परप्लेक्सिटी का लेते हैं, परप्लेक्सिटी क्या एक एजेंट हुआ और वो कुछ इनके साथ टाई अप है एयरटेल के साथ, तो क्रॉस कंपनी भी एजेंट कम्युनिकेशन हो सकता है, राइट?
For that you build agent to agent protocol, means you build your agent in such a way that it can follow the agent to agent protocol. So let's say the request was for Airtel, now I have done from my side. There is nothing left on me. I need to send it to the network provider or someone else itself. Let's assume the distributor or whoever. So they have built their own agent because it's not in my domain. So you can integrate with their agent and it will work if you follow the A2A protocol.
Okay.
Like the way they build the MCP protocol, similar way there is a A2A protocol. So everyone is building their own agent, which are specialized on one thing, but one agent cannot do everything, and they need to talk to another agent. So that's why instead of how they will, like when you create a REST API, you have some standard defined.
Exactly. बोल रहा था कि ऐसे ही बोल हो रहा है. मतलब maybe we are not like these things are not communicating over gRPC or something like that. They have their own A2A. मतलब ultimately वो TCP STTP पे ही run हो रहा होगा, but this is what they have there. अच्छा, MCP have we discussed? मतलब
not yet.
Okay, ठीक है.
MCP is also one thing, like how the LLM you can add some additional capability using MCP. We can add it. There was one way was the tool, but tool will be like very local to your thing. But if you want to say that, okay, you have some things to check your system, now you want to expose this to LLM, you expose by MCP instead of exposing via HTTP REST API. MCP is also a simple HTTP API only, but it follows one standard, and that if you create in that way, it can be integrated with all the MCP client. So MCP client can be your editor also, and it can be your some agentic application also.
Oh, okay. अच्छा, ठीक है. अच्छा.
So because by default this LLM can only provide you the answer on the static thing only, correct? And in the editor, how it works, whatever the repository you are opening or the file you are opening, everything is getting added as a context. So that's how it knows. But if you need something outside of that repo or which is dynamic, you need to integrate with some way, and that way is the MCP as a standard. And if you're building your own, everything you want to keep it local, then you create as a tools.
Okay.
I think tools we have shown in the first session, where let's say if I'm trying to ask for a temperature of any city, correct? By default, LLM does not know, but I have told that, okay, if you are anyone is asking for temperature related thing, you can use this tool. So it will route that. It will say that, okay, I don't have answer, but you can call this tool. So if you are not using any framework, you need to call it by yourself. But let's assume you are using any SDK. That SDK is able to call it on behalf of you. So you don't need to write the code for calling the tools. That SDK will internally do it, but they also just make API call with the additional parameter only.
Okay, ठीक है.
ठीक है. तो I think वरुण आज का वो है, right? So I think is done.
हाँ, आज का थोड़ा मेरा टाइम नहीं मिल पाया सर, तो मैं बाहर चला गया.
ठीक है. I think ये सब तो you will cover in detail anyways in the subsequent sessions, right? So एक बार I think just share the plan for next session के लिए.
Sure.
And I think if any questions to Varun, नहीं तो we'll proceed with the quiz. I'll stop the recording and we'll proceed with quiz.
भैया कुणाल, हेलो. मैं बोल रहा था कि मेरा जो नेक्स्ट सेशन है उस टाइम पे मेरे को थोड़ा वर्क था. मतलब नेक्स्ट 8, मतलब यहाँ पे आई थिंक मॉर्निंग 8 o'clock